Richard Demarco is without doubt a remarkable man, an Italian-Scot, a founder of the Traverse Theatre, a man who is an artist, a writer, a philosopher. He's the man who has brought the contemporary visual arts to the Edinburgh Festival. He's been involved in more than 50 Edinburgh festivals, and he's brought great artists like Joseph Beuys and Cantor to thousands of people. He's also brought the visual arts from other parts of the world, from Eastern Europe, long before other people were interested. And he's inspired us all. He's inspired us to take extraordinary journeys, journeys in the mind, journeys across Europe, journeys that he calls the road to Meikle Seggie.
This is the road to Meikle Seggie. Look, here's the sign, Meikle Seggie. This is the road that's taken me on many significant journeys in my life. And this is the road that's going to take me this year from Scotland to Malta, where I've been asked to work with the Maltese government in the making of a £75 million National Arts Centre, which will be ready for the millennium. As well as artists from all over the world, I'll be bringing the spirit of my dear friend Joseph Beuys to Malta. And that means there'll be a sculpture, a forest of 7,000 oaks, because he was committed to sculpture as environmental art. From this road, and it's not a safe place, it will test you to the breaking point, you can discover the reality of Europe. We're on the road in the Mediterranean, which is undoubtedly the road to Meikle Seggie, the road of any artist who wishes to be an explorer, examining a space beyond their own national identity, beyond the normal idea of time, going back at least 7,000 years, to the edge of the ocean, to a western sea. Way back in the late 60s and in the early 70s, I was inspired by this very road here to consider the idea of leading people towards the world's greatest manifestation of the arts in post-war Europe, towards the Edinburgh Festival from this point. This is the ideal place where you find engineering, sculpture, spirituality, a sanctum sanctorum, probably unequaled anywhere in the world. A good place to look at time passing, to look at the stars, to look at the sun, to look at the moon, to feel that time has some kind of meaning as one year passes into another. This is Manidra, part of Hajarim temple, place to begin the journey. And of course, to come here properly, you have to come, I think, with the humility that the pilgrim has, not just the explorer, not just trying to find facts. We should actually be content to know that we are in a state of awe, in a state of wonder. How could human beings get it so right when in our own age we get things so easily wrong?
It was 1968. And I got a telephone call. Ricky announced himself with his usual exuberance and said he was staying in Senglia. And I said, how absolutely marvellous. And his immediate reaction was, you're the first person in Malta to say how marvellous. The next thing I knew is it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We met on the steps of Senglia. And the next time I looked at my watch, it was 5:45 in the morning. So I think that immediately sort of seals and identifies almost a brotherhood bond. When I was appointed architect for the project, I realized that what we needed was somebody who understood the essence of what this was all about. Because in a way, it's a healing process. The creation of an art centre in Malta is the healing process of the last scar of World War II. So I said there must be one person who is going to be our spiritual guide. Who else but Ricky?
The Maltese government has almost discovered Richard Demarco quite some time back. And we recognize that he has an important role to play to help us develop our cultural policies, our cultural strategies, to help us develop our program of activities, and especially to do this in a regional, European, and in a world context.
And move out to the rest of Europe. So the whole of Europe is about reforestation.
His enthusiasm, his tremendous capacity to be, first of all, a catalyst for the spirit and for art. I think this is the essential qualities. Obviously his experiences today, worldwide, knows the art world as probably nobody else does. His tremendous contribution to Scotland. But it's not a local contribution. It's a worldwide contribution of love, enthusiasm. It's a lifetime dedicated to the spirit, the soul, the essential qualities of man.
But the point is, listen, we must also include certain aspects of art which involve the environment. Imagine if we do have the 7,000 Oaks of Joseph Boyce in a Maltese version.
By some sort of divine act of providence, when Joseph Boyce, at Ricky's invitation, arrived in Edinburgh, I was actually with Ricky. The spirit of Boyce is here because Ricky, in a way, is an incarnation.
Well, you see, we could have a whole session on that subject. Art bringing science and religion together.
And why in this century science and religion have gone apart, and why he believed that in the next century they would come closer together through art. But let's go and have a look at what's actually happening on site in the Cavalier in our process of turning this into a reality. What we're trying to do is to convert this into a welcoming series of spaces, which also include a theatre of 160 people, and a small music room, and a cinematheque. So we have various activities, and this is very important. I mean, the fact that this has got to be a magnet to draw people into Valletta. The problem of the architect is obviously how do you do this without actually destroying the essence and the character of the building. The architect is designing for the future, but he's also defending the past.